In the background for this watch review will be this gun, the Beretta 92FS. This is a used police trade-in gun. I have been shooting it for the last 2 weeks and I'm loving it. By the way, it was my service pistol in the Air Force, both on a competitive shooting team and my duty gun. The thing I've always said about the 92, the M9 series, is it's just too darn heavy. It's too big. It's not SAWC efficient, and I will stick with all of that. But as far as shootability goes, accuracy, reliability, it's hard to top. It really is. It's still a great gun. It's awesome. Watch for the review. It's coming separately. But now you're going to watch for this whip sound. Finally reviewing this watch. Come on, camera, focus. There it is. Not really finally. I actually did the review on it about a year ago. And then I was looking at the review and lo and behold, half the footage was corrupted. Bummer, dude. Especially since this is a go-to adventure and water watch for us here in the project. Especially for West Coast Zodiac operations. This is my tabletop review finally, of course, on the AMW710. The last digits, if you care, 1 Alpha Victor Delta Foxtrot. I know it's complicated. The link is always below. I will always send you to Amazon, because Amazon, you can return it so easily if you don't like the watch. Get this though. This AMW710 was only $50 when we bought it, or $51. And yet it's one of our favorite boat watches. We have a lot, I admit it, we do. On the other side, just balancing things out, is a Citizen Scuba Fin Eco Drive. But this is a different animal. This here is a pure analog. Granted, solar driven. This is not solar, but it's a water watch. But the amazing thing about the Casio AMW710 is that it provides you with so much useful information in such an affordable price, number one, in such a compact form factor, number two, and also, number three, with great looks. Says me. I think it looks like a much more expensive Anadige style of watch. And we'll start there. I love the background, the face. You can see it's kind of waved. See, wave, so kind of, you know, an ode to water, ocean operations. It's just cool. It's kind of a second cool thing. I love the colorations and the marker set on the AMW 710 as well. So we've got kind of a chrome plating around the marker set. We have very clear minute graduations on the outer scale. And then the hands are totally perfect. So the hour's hand is lined in orange. It's big, white, easily read. The minute's hand is not short and stubby like we've seen on some other dive watches. And it is also easily picked up. So just from a purely analog presentation, this is a watch that just works for me. I don't have to go to the LCD screen. It's a small, we'll talk about that, legible but very tiny LCD positive display screen. I don't have to go there to get any repeated information. It's right here, at least for the time. I love the looks. And then we have the outer bezel, which by the way is a psych out because it's a non-rotating bezel. Remember the price, it's a $50 watch. Would I like to have it rotating? Absolutely, I would. But it has a timer function in it, so it's really superfluous. You don't really need it because it's an Anadige. You have digital functionality, analog looks, don't need it. And then you don't have to constantly rotate it to the 12 o'clock position if it gets bumped, which for whatever reason it seems to happen to me all the time. So here's my Citizen Pro Master Diver. I was wearing this the other day, and you know, I don't know. I think I was timing something I was cooking, and it's like that. You know, are you like that too? If you have like a bezel, if it's like off kilter, does it like bug you? Like, oh, dude, I gotta rotate that around. I don't know. I like it at the 12 o'clock position, but yeah, it's a psych out. But I was talking about the looks of the hands with this section, which is really cool. So you have this orange asymmetric section on the Casio, which by the way is module 3796. So if you want to look that up, 3796 is a module. But on the Casio AMW710, I love this, that it's the asymmetric orange markers, three-dimensional aspect to the face, really. And remember, it's such an affordable watch. Now that is a mineral crystal, obviously not sapphire. Right now it is wearing one of my crystal protectors, which I make out of the armor suit material. It's a very tough, super clear polymer material. This is the third one I've put on it. That's because this watch has seen a lot of use, and you'll probably detect some salt pitting when we look at the case closely. It has gone scuba diving, it's gone riding in the Zodiac, it's gone on tactical shoots, it's gone camping, it has seen many hours of EDC wear as well. Again, one of my over-tested watches. I go overboard sometimes. Not anymore, I'm much more efficient now, but this is one of them that just saw so much use. I think, again, it looks like a much more expensive watch than it is. As far as I know, this is the only variation of it. And I should have checked, but it might be a JDM model only. In other words, meant for the Japanese domestic market, not really meant for the United States. I really like that when Casio does that, or better said, when a retailer will bring in the JDM Casios, because they're more special, they're harder to get, they'll go up in price if you take care of it. This is a user watch for me. I'm not trying to get any collectability out of it, but it's kind of cool. And also cool is its wearability, and we're going to take it off the rack. This did come with a different band. I will discuss that as we progress here. In wearability, it's a very low profile watch. Now, I don't know what stainless steel this is, but you can kind of see the marks and maybe some, pitting like I was talking there, some staining from the saltwater ops, and also like bodyboarding. Not body, but boogie boarding is what I'm trying to say, out in the Pacific Ocean. So you see that right there? So I wouldn't say it's like a 316, highest quality stainless steel on the AMW710. It's not. But let me tell you this, I like how it looks. I like that it's worn, and I want it to get even more worn. To me, it just shows the watch has been serving in an environment where it's working. I like a working watch, and honest wear on a working watch, we should always honor that. We should. It's just cool. We got 20 millimeter lugs here, and they're not cross drilled, so your spring pins there will have to just be applied and taken out in conventional fashion. I thought I have, yeah, I do. I got my new digital caliper here, so let's measure it. I love the sizing on it. I think it's just about right. I wouldn't mind it to be a little bit bigger. But there you go. So that's 45 millimeters across. 45.3. Bigger, nothing fancy. Well, it doesn't seem that big. The face itself is about 34 millimeters. The width is almost 14 millimeters on the Casio AMW710. It wears well. It wears flat. So it goes underneath my Gore-Tex when I'm on the water, under rain gear. It's very lightweight, 3.2 ounces. And that'll take us to the strap it came with, which is a downside. It's pretty much crap. So this is a strap that I immediately took off when I got this watch, and I was like, yeah, it's got to go. This is like one of those cheapo, hard vinyl straps that Casio will do on its value products. And as soon as I'm done with this review, I'm throwing it in the garbage. In fact, I'm doing it right now. Where's my garbage? It's gone. It's tossed. And instead, I'm running, as I've always said, I just love the Barton Bands. So this is a beautiful royal blue silicone Barton Band with built-in spring bars that are easily connected into the lug. See that? Cool. And you kind of see on the Barton Band it has texturing, stainless steel clasp. This is what you'll see in, I think I have scuba dive footage running the AMW710. You'll see it down under the water, and this is the one I had. Let's look at the case back while we're here. A downside to the watch is it is not a screw-in case back. It has 4 screws there, so maybe, just maybe, when you replace the battery, which incidentally is slated to last for 10 years. That's right, the AMW710, the manufacturer, Casio, says 10 years on this sucker. That's pretty awesome. That is way awesome. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. And when you do it, just be careful of that O-ring. You may have to order another O-ring. So you can see the information there, the module information, some wear and tear. So, you know, it's not a second cool case back for sure. Making sure I told you the right module. I think I did. It's so hard to see the module number right there. I don't think anyone cares though. Look at this though, how it's labeled. So this is something rare on these antidigits. So it'll actually, it's not really labeled on the front, but if you turn the watch over, it'll show you that this is your search function, this is your light, adjust, and mode right here, which we'll go through here in just a second. So anyways, that's the band replacement, and it just improved it so much. If you put a stainless steel bracelet on this, so here's one I peeled off a Seiko. I mean, you adapt that, then it's going to look like again, a higher end Anti-Dig dive watch. If that's what you're after, if that's what you care about. Okay, so let me tell you this. And this is an interesting watch review because there's amazingly a lot of depth to the 710. For number one, it's a tide watch. I don't know if you caught that. So it has tide and moon data on it. So you can, right now it's in tide, and if you see this little circular graph down here, I know it's hard to read, it really is, and that is a downside. The LCD screen's hard to read, so it's a tide graph, so you might need some readers. Or if your eyesight's really good, you'll be able to pick it out easily. But there's really very few watches like this that have this type of presentation, the beautiful analog legibility that we've discussed already. And by the way, I love the hand shapes too, so it's not like, you know, shaped like a spear. There's no triangular tip on it. Kind of like what the Citizen Pro Master Diver has going on. Not that I mind that, but if I were to choose between the styles of hands, I just like clean like this, as opposed to some funky triangular presentation with tips and spears and tridents on them. That's just me. I just like it better. Not that I won't buy a watch that has the other ones. Obviously I will, but there you go. So that's a tide function there, and you can pick that up. We continue to use tide function in West Coast operations. It is very important. It tells us what the waves are going to be doing. It tells us where we can go. In some areas it's so shallow we're going to eat our motor up, which I've done with the Zodiac Futura. Now we're running a different Zodiac with a much more expensive motor, so it's even more critical. You don't want to be going 35 miles an hour and all of a sudden hit a mud patch with rocks embedded on the bottom. That's bad. So that's helpful. Then you have your LCD screen right here. So it's going to repeat your day, date, and your time. But look at all the information it has. It has everything. The 710 does. Yes, it's tiny, but it's there. Here we go through the modes. Well, let me go back real quick and should I go through the setting? I don't think I'm going to. Just to save time, I'm not going through it. So you'll just set it as per the normal. You have a light function you can set. I think it's 1 to 3 seconds. That's pretty standard on all the Casios. So we're not going to do it just for time. It's pretty standard. So this is our moon and tide function right here. So right now you see the little triangle pointing to the moon. So that is showing our moon phase. So 13 to about 16.5 is going to be a full moon. You can look that info up on the internet, of course, if you care. And then what I'm doing is I'm cycling days. So I'm going through different days and it's showing what the moon's doing. Okay. Now if I press, I think it's this button right here, it goes to tide. This is just like our G7900 series. We're going to set our Luna tidal information. We're going to set a UTC differential. I don't want to get too technical, and a longitude Luna tidal differential. I'll put the link of where I go to find that information. You're just going to put your longitude in, and then your location, in other words, and then find out what your offset is and enter it into the watch. I find that once you set it, it's very accurate for your location. Now with that information in, and this would be the upper left button that we'd enter that, then we'll cycle through. If we're curious and we don't have a smartphone, which I use all the time, a tide function, this will again show you different times of the day what the tide's doing. If you notice a little circular window here, see we have a rising tide, and it's just kind of going around, and on the tide graph is the proper name of what we're doing. Sorry for the reflection. So there you go. I don't think a lot of you guys care about the tide function, and it's so easily, you know, ignored in this watch because it's unobtrusive. There's your stopwatch function, so we'll start it, stop it, reset upper left. There's your time remaining function. Same thing, we start here. We can press and hold this to set. I usually have mine set around 16 minutes. Then we have our alarm function. There's multiple alarms, signal function. I won't go through them all. You've seen them a lot. Here's what it sounds like. Not super loud. It's kind of a quiet alarm. Then when we turn the alarm on, you'll see the annotation here in the bottom LCD screen. Turn it off again. Then we have a dual time function that we can set. Right now it's just repeating what's going on with the main hands. I was just dinking around with it. So you could set that on whatever you wanted. And your analog hands will remain the same. So you might have, I don't know, GMT down here, Zulu time, and then your local time is on the analog presentation, and your home time that you set. Now this is cool. This is your hand set feature. And you've probably noticed there is no seconds hand. But there is a seconds function, as you can see in that tiny, tiny LCD screen. Now, so if you absolutely need a seconds hand, maybe this isn't the watch for you. A lot of people like the seconds hand, wisely so I should say, to just make sure their watch is functioning. They see movement. But since you have the LCD screen, do you really need that? Not really. Not really. So the handset's really cool. Has both a fast speed and a normal speed slew. You press and hold the upper left, and then you'll slew it with these two buttons. The handset function. And then you go back to home time. That's it, man. I just showed you all the features. Oh, I didn't show you loom and legibility. Alright, so as I normally do, as that cool looking watch sits against the Beretta 92FS, is I'll expose it to light. But this also has a backlight as well, like we saw on the case back, right? Most of the Casio watches will activate with the upper right push. Kill this one. So I think the hand legibility is actually pretty cool on this. And I'm trying to remind myself what those two loom markers are. I actually forget. You can kind of see them down there. And then here's your light. Now, it is a downside that you can't see that LCD screen with the light. That's kind of dumb that Casio did it that way. Don't know what to tell you about that. It's not great. But I don't know, in the darkness, could you read it anyhow? Probably not. What you'd be reading is what you see now is just the analog hands. And so I think for what it is, the price level, I think the loom is actually pretty excellent. It's not super loom. I'm not saying that. And I was going to contrast it against this Citizen Scuba Fin, just for the heck of it. That Citizen and Seiko have such great loom, man. I mean, Seiko's one of my favorites, especially their blue ones, and Citizen does the same thing. I'm charging off camera here. Just for a second. So a mini Citizen review. There you go. Oh, that's it. That's exactly what I was talking about. So that, look at the blue loom on that. On the Scuba Fin. I'm going to review this separately. Love the watch. It's got a couple quirks just like they all do. And here's the 710. But this is actually, this watch here doesn't have the functionality, and it's 3 times the price. Granted, solar powered. Get them both. You should have a watch collection by now, bro. You know that. Have some watches you like. So like I said, this is a go-to watch for us in pretty much every respect. As the years go on, you'll probably be able to make out that we wear the 710 a lot. At least I do, because it does a lot of things, like I said. And it has like the alarm function, which you don't have on one of the analog divers. I don't always have my iWatch on me out in the water, so that's when I need a stopwatch function and all the other stuff there. Highly recommend it. I'll just say it on camera. For the price, it's a 5 out of 5 recommendation for the Casio AMW710-1 Alpha Victor Delta Fox. I don't think it comes in other variations. Links below. If I find another one, you'll see it down there. See ya.